Yeah, and I agree, Jolie. Yeah, Jolie, your live streams have been so fun. I've been off of Twitch this week, but they've been lovely. Okay, so the next thing is, this is something I've discovered recently, but also kind of been struggling with. I felt like I've been at the point where I could really use a manager. I could really use someone to help, me tell them my goals and show them what I'm doing and have them help, put the pieces together and we just start skyrocketing. And I was like, how do I find a manager? What do I do to get a manager? I wish I had enough money for a publicist so that I could get like this really high level press, because I have enough of a brand image now where I think people would be willing to cover me or cover Quarantine. And then I was like, once I hired an assistant, which is actually something that Rooks, another Quarantine alumni, suggested. She was like, honestly, assistant is like the way to go. And now that I finally hired an assistant, I can confirm an assistant is the way to go. I do pay. I would always say pay the people that are working with you, or at least set up some type of trade or compensation plan, something, so you're not just like using this poor volunteer for nothing. But like I use Corey. Just kidding. But yeah, literally, I knew that I didn't need a manager necessarily to tell me what to do next. I know what I want to do next. I just thought like having this person with more connections would help me like get certain deals or make certain things happen. But it really is a thing nowadays where you have to make it all happen. And the person who can help you make it happen is an assistant who can take on some of that lower level, easier work that takes up time and is important, but isn't necessarily like blowing your brand up. Like my assistant has been amazing at just like turning my like my last music marketing, making clips, putting on YouTube, making thumbnails for everything, making everything look extra professional for me, helping me do things like research physical CDs if I didn't have time, little things like that make it so I can focus on like meeting with Corey and planning out what we're doing, so that I can focus on upgrading my stream and researching this other stuff that maybe she wouldn't be able to research for me because I have like specific stuff I have to look at, or just whatever little things. Like it has taken so much off my plate. So I just want to say, whatever team you can build it now. Don't feel like you have to find this industry person. You don't have to find a manager. You don't have to find a publicist. You don't have to find a booking agent. You don't have to find any of that, because the people around you are probably just as good at that. So if there's anyone, like when I finally, met Jolie and I was like, oh my God, I want to work with Jolie. And then Jolie helped me level up my production skills and teach me more about production. Like that was an amazing piece of my team. And I totally forgot. We're going to unveil my new website after this that Jolie built for me. So I feel like I always have Jolie in my corner to be able to help with like website stuff and music production stuff. I have my assistant to help with all the little things. Corey is like indispensable in helping us level up Quarantine. And like I said, we're creating some new stuff with that we're going to announce this coming week. And yeah, I feel like I have a group of people around me where I'm not as stressed anymore as I was even just a week or two ago, because I'm like, there are all these people that are helping me and we're all getting something out of it. Like, if I may, like, for example, if I may divulge a little bit, like with Corey's been helping pitch brand sponsors. And although honestly, most of that is like out of the kindness of his heart and volunteering, because he hasn't gotten any money yet. But I'm like, any money that we do get, I will split with you. We'll do a deal out of that. So it's like a commission base, which is not ideal. Again, don't make people work for commissions. But again, Corey has also, said that that's okay and been very just energetic about wanting to help and stuff like that. But like doing that, or like with Anna, who helped finish Sweet Nothings, like I traded PR hours with her for the production hours that she gave me. So if you don't have money or whatever, just make sure you're compensating everyone, figuring out things you can do. And I know in some ways it's like, okay, but I'm trading production time, but then I'm still losing time. How am I gaining time? I'm just saying build your team. I'm just saying have people around you that you can use for anything that you need when you need them. And think of the ways that you can compensate them if you are not made of money. My dog is my manager. Yeah, me trying to like shout out Corey without, hi Allison. Me trying to shout out Corey without just trying to say it in the right way because he's doing so much. And he's going to be like, what? You're not paying me. Don't lie. But we're working on things. We're working on building platforms and making money eventually. So yes, all of that stuff. And this list of 10 is very fluid. Lived in LA 2 years. Oh wait, yeah. Let me again go through. With the streaming side, I think you have to make time. Okay, let me make sure that's, yes, perfect. Krugler said, with the streaming side, I think you have to make time as a viewer to actually reach out to others. It is true. So you mean like as being a streamer, you need to go be a viewer and like make friends with people. That's very true. And I don't have time for that. Well, not that I don't have time for it, but I don't have time to do it as much as I think would help me like grow. I think that's the biggest secret to success, honestly. It's not a secret at all. It's just supporting as many other streamers as you can, because then their communities get to know you and they will come, the streamer will come say hi to you more often, maybe raid you more often, but also that community knows you and you will be added to their regular rotation of people that they watch. Yeah, I don't know. I try to get in the habit of watching Twitch more, but I don't, because I just never watched it until I was a streamer. So it's like going back to become a streamer. Self-managing is so hard, but yeah, Jolie, also, like you said, you got to put the time in being in communities to build one. It's true. I mean, that's a big part. Joey is a part of my community and the PB and K, and that was a big part of, them. I mean, also being, just like friends with people and your communities on social media and stuff helped too. But specifically on Twitch, like me and the PB and K, I mean, you're pretty much a regular viewer, and my viewers who didn't know you before just fell in love with you and, go to your streams, and that helps a lot, especially when you're starting out, because those first few viewers are the hardest viewers to get. Self-managing is so hard. My husband finally took over and is killing it. Yes, that's like, if you have someone that you can trust to be a manager, that is definitely recommended, but also don't risk it. Because I approached someone to be a manager that was more of like, not a fan, but just kind of like a music person. And I could tell right away it wasn't going to work. And it didn't work. I mean, I didn't even end up like working with them. But I just, yeah, it was a no-no. So again, just like take your time, do things, make yourself the boss before you put someone else in charge of anything else. Make yourself the boss, or make it a collaboration with someone that you really know you can trust. Let's see. Self-managing is hard. I might just take a page out of great book because my partner step his game up. Get it. I mean, it's a lot of work. But even just like a couple hours a day helps. I mean, a week. Just like, okay, babe, I need help with this one thing. Can you just work on this one thing this week so I can do this stuff? Yeah? Okay, babe. I love you, babe. Oh my God, my babe. Curtis is king. Storks in reverse too. If you have skills to help other artists, say something. Yes, completely agree. Relationship is reciprocated. Yes. On the topic on managers, when I need, I'll either choose my mom or a close friend. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't even have to be a close friend. Sometimes it's good to have a friend that you barely know. Well, I'll say it goes either way, because my assistant is like a friend that I like kind of knew, but like didn't really know. And it's worked out great, I think, versus like if I was really close to someone, I think there could have been more of a mess. But I think that's also because I'm paying them. So if it was like a close friend or like a family member or whatever who wanted to do it for free, or like do it more like based off of money that they bring in or whatever, like a typical manager actually does, then I would say that's okay. But just, again, weigh your options. Be careful with everything. We kind of talked about this already, but posting like the funniest shit or like hot pics of yourself is not going to make you blow up. We touched on that enough, I think. Again, it can make you blow up, but it won't make you blow up for your music. So it's just a thing of, don't rely on that to make you popular. Do it if you want. And, if you want to be popular for your body, cool. That's cool too. But don't think that being popular for your body means that they're going to come over to your music. Because I think there's a lot of people, it can get frustrating if you're like, I have all of these followers and no one listens to my music. Why do they only care about this part of me? Well, if the main thing that you're advertising is one thing over your music, and that's how you're getting people in, because it's the easier way, that's going to be what people flock to. Buy a ring light. They're expensive, but if you want a nice light, especially for streaming, you can probably get one for like 40 to 60. Yes. The reason I went to my dad is because of the reason that situation doesn't need. Say no more. Say no more, Toby. Okay, here's the last one. And then we'll talk more about what other people suggested and any additional wisdom that you feel like I didn't cover. I know we talked a lot. I didn't expect to talk this long. I was like, we'll do some music after. It'll be a nice quick stream, 30 minutes. But there's a lot to talk about. Okay, so here's the last thing. And this is about like making connections. So I'll start with the sentence of always be respectful and humble, and remember that nobody owes you anything. Nobody owes you anything. That's honestly taking me a while to take in, especially just in the sense of like feeling like, oh, I follow this person, I share their music, so why don't they follow me? Why don't they like me? Why don't they blah, blah, blah? And I mean, in some cases, I feel like it could just be like a snobby person. But in other cases, it's just like, well, maybe you're freaking them out. Maybe you're not as cool as you think you are. Maybe whatever. Just don't feel like, oh, well, this person covers all this music, but they don't cover me. Or this person follows me, but how come they don't support me? Or this person, whatever. Like, nobody owes you anything. They don't owe you a follow. They don't owe you a share. They don't owe you... maybe you share them and they don't share you back. They don't owe you that. Although, yes, it can be disappointing and sad. But just because you're a fan of someone else's music doesn't mean they're going to be a fan of yours, and they don't have to fake it. But that's the more negative side of that. But what I want to say is when you're reaching out to people, just know that most people will be willing to help. They're willing to listen. They're willing to make a connection. So say hi to them and get to know them and support them. And if over time you feel like you're getting the cold shoulder nonstop, then maybe don't follow them anymore, unless you really like their music, and maybe just stop talking to them anymore. But take the time to get to know people. If they never reciprocated or you feel undervalued or ignored, then you don't need to follow them. But if they do talk back to you in a good way, talk back to you, then start making those connections, start making friends. You'd be surprised like how many big artists are willing to talk to you. And by big, I mean like not massive. They never care. They're too busy. They got too many DMs. It's actually surprising how many DMs people have. Like I have 2,000 followers, and at any given moment, I probably have like 15 DMs. That's not me bragging. It's just me saying that people who might not even look that big might be a lot more busy than you realize, or might have a lot more messages to look through than you realize. But reaching out to people to like do collabs or whatever, like don't be scared to do that. Don't be scared, especially once it's definitely, you want to make sure you have that like friendship, that connection there first as a base before you're just like, let's collab. We should collab. Make sure that they like your music, you like their music. Make sure that it fits. Don't like pressure people. Don't stress them out or whatever. But don't be afraid either to put the feelers out there, and just know that you're going to probably get rejected by a lot of people. And it might not even mean that they don't want to do it with you. It might just be like they're too busy right now, or they don't have time right now, or whatever. So it's really important to just like say hi, make friends. You also don't have to like go into it with a collab mindset. But especially now, like the people in my community, I feel like we all, kind of know people tangentially. And if there's someone that you really want to talk to, but you haven't talked to yet, talk to them, say hi, try to be their friend, especially within like the queer and teen regular group. Like everyone is so nice and welcoming. There's always going to be artists that just don't care, or like artists who will like maybe follow you on one place but not another because they want to keep their ratio on Instagram. And that's fine. If you don't like that person, or if that bothers you, you can unfollow them too. They're not even going to notice because they don't follow you. But yeah, I just think it's really important to make friends. And especially if you're not a live streamer, which makes it really easy, or if you're not creating all of this certain content, just like saying hi to people and introducing yourself to people is great. And the easiest way to do it is if someone you really like just released new music, just say you like it. Just comment on their posts. You don't have to, there's no crazy secret to it. It's literally just that. And don't go into collabs like don't reach out to people that you want to collab with for clout, because that's going to be stinky, messy. It's probably not going to be fun, even if it turns out to be a good song. It's a lot better to work with people that you actually like. I think it's more important to focus on doing collabs with people that you like, even if they might be smaller. versus trying to do a collab with like some big artist or whatever just because you think you'll pop off from it. It's not worth it. It's better when everyone is excited and wants to do it and your friends and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, all that good stuff. And then we have a few user submitted things that I want to talk about, but let's look at the chat. One more time. What's the tough pill to swallow? Oh yeah. Crew said, if people share for the sole reason of getting shared, it's usually very obvious. Yes. And does the opposite of what you expect. That's wasted energy. Yeah. And also don't like just go into people's DMs, like share my music. Or even just like, I don't know. Sometimes people will just like send me posts and expect me to, I don't know what they expect me to do. If I'm your friend, like if I know you well and you know I know you, like don't feel self-conscious, send me whatever. But there's people that I like don't really know that well and they'll just like send me a song and I'm just like, okay. Could you say hi? Could you have some politeness in here? Oh wait, Shalev, I saw something you said a while back and I just realized I missed it. You said, if you have a 0 follower base, is there a reason to get your songs on streaming services? Could you get discovered on it from just 0? Just wondering. Shalev, I know you don't have a 0 follower base because I follow you and I am one person, exactly one. I think getting your music on streaming services is definitely a way to get more followers because it makes you more shareable. SoundCloud, although yeah, literally you can share it, is not as shareable as Spotify or Apple Music. Being on those places, it's a lot easier for like, I could put you on a playlist tomorrow. If you had a song on Spotify, Tuesday, I could put you on a song. I could put your song on a playlist and then you would automatically have 10 listeners. Maybe you'd get in another fan or two besides me. So I think having as many ways for people to discover you is really important because if your only way that you're releasing music is on a live stream, most people are not going to go to a live stream. Like I have thousands of followers and usually on my live streams, I have like 10 to 15 viewers. So it just goes to show it's a very small percentage of people. It's good to make yourself as accessible as possible. Let's see. The mindset of I followed him and shared his music, he should do the same to me is the most toxic mindset to have in my opinion. Yeah, and I mean that's how you would get on someone's bad side too. And it's not healthy for yourself if you're thinking that about someone. Just think about like, okay, it does sometimes hurt your feelings if you thought you like were friends or if they say that they like your music, but maybe they never actually listened or whatever. Like it can hurt your feelings for sure. You can get upset for sure. I'm not saying you're not allowed to have feelings around it, but to feel like this person owes you or to dislike them because of it, I would say dislike them for other reasons. Maybe dislike them because they're not actually paying attention to you and you're kind of forcing a connection that isn't there. And not even dislike them, but maybe just disengage from them, unfollow, whatever, mute, whatever. Because social media can be blood boiling for no good reason. Sometimes you can see someone's story and just get annoyed. Or sometimes you can see someone like getting shared a lot, and you share them all the time, but they don't share you and you can get annoyed. You're like, how come that person didn't share my music? And you're also focused on these things that don't make sense when you just probably got shared by like plenty of people. I get surprised at people I have casual conversation with from time to time. Thought they wouldn't want to take the time to talk. Yeah, I've been talking to, I won't dox this person in case they're like shy about it. But I've been talking to someone like a lot lately and they're just like, oh my gosh, I'm like really happy that you talk to me and honestly, it's not just one person. I'm still popular, but no, I am. But no, I just mean like there's people who like I feel like a regular person. I'm also not as big as some of these other people, but I think there's a lot of times when smaller artists will look at these bigger artists and be like, oh my God, they're so big. They don't have time for me. They're like way too cool for me. And most of us just feel like regular. Like I feel so regular, but there's people who are like, oh my gosh, I'm like such a big fan. And I didn't think that blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, oh my God. Like I love your music. I'm a fan of yours. So it's weird to be in those positions sometimes, but not a bad thing. I just mean like, don't be shy to reach out. Also, just because someone has a lot of followers or a lot of listeners doesn't mean they're that much bigger. It's again, like the difference between someone having 10,000 followers and like 10,000 listeners on Spotify and like 100 listeners is not as big as it seems. It could just be that, they got on a playlist one time and hit Discover Weekly or whatever. So it's not, you're like one playlist away from any of these people you look up to. Or most of them, I should say, like within our circles. Now, if you're looking at some big old bitch, then you might be, 30 playlists away, but that's different. Kruger said, there's so many people in the same grind as you that can relate with you. That's true. And I find those are the easier friends to make than just swinging for the big foals. Yes, that's very true. And I think it's more worth it because they also understand where you are more. They're going to be more willing to have conversations. You're going to have more in common. I always think it's one of those things where you want to have people that are like bigger than you or smarter than you or whatever, more talented, however you want to look at it, in your circle, because they will help you grow into the places where they are, you know, like not massive, but just like other people around your level. Maybe you look up to them, but they're not like crazy huge. Start there, but also start with people your size and start with people smaller than you too. Like just make more friends. So many people discriminate based on follower size. They really do. And I mean, I don't blame them to a certain degree because again, once you hit a certain point, you kind of feel like, I feel like some of these people are just following me because they want to like get in my good graces or whatever, or like have me support them. But yeah, I mean, just remember there, I've seen people complaining on social media about like, oh, I just don't feel like included. I feel like people don't pay attention to me. And I'm like, you're one of the bigger artists in our community and you're not paying attention to the smaller people. Like, I don't have any sympathy for someone who is complaining about not feeling included, but also isn't doing anything to make people feel included. So just make sure you're walking the walk. If you feel excluded, make sure that you are trying to make other people feel included. Hi, Zeke. How are you? Hi, Shasta. Mein Deutsch. Mein Deutsch ist perfekt, wie immer. Weiß nicht. Ich vergesse mehr jeden Tag. Child, I got on Twitch because I liked Kisos music and I saw you live streaming. If you had told me I'd be live streaming an affiliate a year and a half later, I'd have told you, yeah, crazy. And also the fact that like once you really started going for it, you hit affiliate in like, I mean, except for the streaming hours, you had affiliate like that in like a week. Like you did it so quick. Like being in communities is such, it's not easy, but it works. Let's see. Collab with me for clout? Maybe. I could use them. I could use some of that Toronto clout. Shalev said, what if it's a person I like is big, but I don't like their music? I mean, I would say follow them. I support people who maybe I'm not a biggest fan of their music. Also, sometimes the more I listen to their music, the more it kind of grows on me. Like, if any of you know Kyunchi's music, if I, a few years ago, I would have never listened to that type of music. And now I'm like, I love it. It's so manic. It's so spicy. It's so different. And like, I can't stop listening to Lice and some of their other music. I mean, some of their stuff too is a little more experimental for my taste still, but I just also because I know them more on a personal level and I know like how much they put into it and their writing is so cute. And I think certain things about their personality and the way they write, like I really love. Plus now, like I said, I just like love the music, period. Like there's a lot of people like that where like it wouldn't necessarily be my type of music, but now I love it. And les pop, some of these more like hyper pop or like noise pop, like 2000 core type of MySpace era music, I would have been like, ooh, like a while back. And now I'm like, give me more. When's your next single coming out? Tina said, I never expected to be followed by any artist I started following on Twitter. I was shocked when I got the first follow back. I think it was Andrea. Yes, Andrea, super supportive. Andrea, Michael, they follow like everyone back for like, even if they don't know them. I don't anymore. I at least wait a little bit. I'm like, wait for them to comment a couple times and see that they're like a real human that likes me. Corey said, I enjoy following you, Tina. Cute makeup, cute wolf, cute stars, appreciating cute music taste. Yeah, love it. Also, if all of our feeds were all just like musicians, I would die. It's nice to just have like, a break from the poo-poo industry talk and just see like Wolf's beautiful self-portrait on himself. But hi, Shasta, how are you? How have you been doing? I'm kind of like going up and down, up and down. Hi, Ash. This is such a long music marketing, Ash. We're just into like the community talk now. So Jackson said, yeah, that's what I'm noticing too. It's weird because I feel so regular too. Yeah. Also, because the person has a lot of listeners, followers doesn't mean they're nice. That's also true. Oops. Be the person to others that you're working so hard to attract. Exactly, Krugler. A Kisos stream, I feel blessed. Hi, Ruby. Yeah, I took a week off. Jolie said, honestly, it's easier to like someone's music when you like the person. It's true. It's kind of like, I mean, this is probably kind of a mean comparison, but sometimes you'll go on a date with someone and you're not the most attracted to them, but you like really like them. You're like, oh, that was so much fun. And then like you meet up with them more and you like start to find them more attractive because you focus more on them instead of like certain preconceived notions about like what being attractive means. And then I think you can like grow to find people like genuinely attractive. It's not like you're settling. And I think the same thing happens with music where, we have our own tastes and they're very preconceived about like what is acceptable or what is good or not. And then when you meet the person, you get some more of the energy behind it. Maybe you find a little bit more of, I know a lot more of like Kyunji's inspirations now and like things that they pull on to make their music. So for me, I think I can appreciate it a lot more because of that. Because I know the person, I understand the music more. Yeah, so it makes a lot more. Bye, Shalef. Thank you so much for coming. I'll talk to you soon. Do I follow you on here? For coming, I'll talk to you. Who's coming? Thank you so much for coming. I should make that a come command. Should I? No? Disgusting? I don't know, but I don't really like the word fan. I try not to really use fan. I just say friend, or I just say fan just because, but like, oh, that's true. I already have a come. I forgot. I need to practice yours. Jackson, get on it. Get onto it. Let's do it. There are still purple cat ears on his forehead. I can't get off. Oh my God. Just like one at a time. One like scrub at a time, I mean. Thank you, Ruby. Thank you. Yeah, I usually say like my community, or I just say my friends or people, supporters, or I know their names, so I just say their names. Sometimes I do say followers just because it's literally like the word, but it depends on what I'm talking about. Okay, let's see. A couple other people said, and feel free to inject any of your own wisdom in here now. Yeah, it's very like Japanese pop, Tina. And for me, I was like, I had no frame of reference for that. And so for me, it was just kind of like so different that I just didn't get it. Or that type of music. Honestly, when I met Kyunji, I actually liked their music pretty right away. Yeah. Anyway, let's continue. Oh, so someone, when I was asking, followers feel so religious. That's true. My pious ones, my ritual cult queens. What was I saying? Oh, okay. So when I posted on social media asking for citizens of the empire, I came from that sort of music to queer pop. And now look, you can have both sometimes. So someone on social media said that their wisdom was to always prepare to be disappointed, which I thought that was kind of a sad way to look at it. But I do think that it's important to look at your goals as realistic. And making sure that you're making realistic goals, because we see some of these artists are like popping off, going crazy. Is my stream dying? Am I alive? I saw something weird happen. It's true. The congregation. Someone was saying like always have low hopes and low expectations, but I think the thing is to be realistic. A lot of people will see other people, hitting that 1,000 streams, pretty quickly and be like, okay, God, I see what you do for others. I want that for me too. And getting 1,000 streams in even like a month as a new artist is not a realistic goal. Hi, Zeke, how are you? A realistic goal is like maybe 50 on your first single in like a week, maybe 100 in a month, maybe 1,000 in a year. And I mean, as you release more, those goals and expectations may change. But I think a lot of people come in with such high expectations and they're always disappointed because there's not a really good framework for what is normal, what is expected. I think really important goals at first, you can just start your own goals, you know, but make them small so you can actually hit them. And then maybe make like bigger goals for the year. Like, okay, by the end of the year, I want to hit 5,000 streams. You know, maybe that's a big goal. And I think go for it, but then take the steps to do that. Because if you're like, I'm going to have a song that gets on a playlist, my first song is going to get 100,000 plays, I'm going to be amazing right out of the gate, I'm going to do this and that and that, and like expecting that to happen is just setting yourself up for failure. So it's all about making smart goals that are like specific and measurable and that you can make sure that you attain within a specific time frame. Like, okay, when I release my single, I want to get 5 pre-saves, or maybe you got 5 last time. So you're like, this time I want to not even just double it. I'm going to try to get 15 pre-saves, or I want to get, you know, 10 new followers, or I want to have this many people share the music and, you know, sending the music to a certain amount of people so that they will share it or whatever. Doing things like that is a lot more healthy. And also it can kind of be a curse to have major success at first, because then you're like, oh, look what happened right out of the gate. And then with like your next single, maybe it doesn't get picked up as much, or, you know, those followers didn't necessarily translate to like real fans. And then you're like, I guess I'm terrible. But no, it's really just happened that that first song had a lightning strike and did like 100 times better than anyone could have predicted. And your second single probably actually did pretty well. But because your first one was like astronomical, you think that the second one didn't do that well. So I think it's all about just like being very careful with your expectations and your goals. And that was something that Gian said on Twitter. And hitting smaller goals is a nice ego boost. It's true. Like I hit 90 pre-saves on my EP. That felt massive to me. I was happy with like 50. I was happy with like 40. And then I was like hitting 50 and I was like, okay. And then I did like an incentive to try to get more. And it worked. And then, you know, you see those followers go up the next day, and yeah, it's amazing. It's good stuff. And some songs take longer for people to connect with. That's also true, Tina, because with He Didn't Want Me, first of all, I've heard a lot of people say that it's had a much deeper effect on them once the full EP came out, because then they heard it in the context of the full journey through the relationship, which was really cool. I was really glad that people said that because I love that song. But also once it was out for a while, all of a sudden it just randomly got picked up by some of these like other little playlists, and it started popping up everywhere. And just without me getting any big press or any big playlists, it has gotten, you know, 20,000 plays, and that's taken 8 months. And I mean, believe me, I'm happy with that too. I feel like that's good. But it just goes to show, like with this song of mine that is kind of popped off in a grassroots level, it still took 8 months for me to get 20,000 streams. So it's a lot. And that's after I've kind of like peaked in my popularity and, you know, kind of begged people to play it. You know, I did a lot of work to get it to 20,000 plays, you know, trying to get it on Discover Weekly and, you know, do certain things and schemes to make people stream it more. It's a lot of work. So start very small. My stream's good. Okay, weird. I just was like looking at the dashboard and then it was like doing the circle of death. And anything you do, you have to clearly define the word success in the context of what you do. Yes. And it is helpful sometimes to literally put numbers to it so it can be very specific. And Zeke, I don't know if I said it out loud, but thank you for the follow. I was saying the Happily Ever After earlier in the context of the EP, I got different vibes from it. That's true too. I mean, you could probably feel that either way. Because yeah, you feel like the depression before and after it, and it makes a lot more, it sticks out a lot more. It sticks out a lot more. Thank you, Ruby. I'm glad. And Jackson, you said He Didn't Want Me was my first Kisos song. Can't remember how I heard it, but it made me a fan. Yeah, I don't remember how we first met either, but I'm glad, Jackson. Happily Ever After hits me hard on the EP than it did as a single. Good. Feeling to wake up on self-love shit. Still a great hype up song. It is. You're one of the few people keeping it alive, Krugler. But actually it was before I released Happily Ever After, De-Atomize and Self-Love Shit were my two most I won't say most popular, but they were getting the most like love from stream and kind of going up the fastest. Tina said, I started listening to Kisos like 2 days before He Didn't Want Me was released, but it took me about 2 weeks to really get into it. Yeah, and then you fell in love, and I'm just like, oh my God. Tina listens to my music more than I listen to all music put together. Tina, you're wild. Plus all these other artists. I don't know how you do it. So one thing that Jackson actually submitted another time was saying planning ahead. Like he didn't really used to plan ahead or think much about, I mean, maybe you can expand on this too if you want in the chat, Jackson. But you were saying on Twitter that you didn't used to really like plan ahead to give yourself time to pitch your music or plan ahead to even just like promo even on social media, or you would kind of just like pick a date and release it, or just be like, I'm just going to put it up. And how now it's like a no-brainer for you to not do those things and to like take a little more time to plan, and even if it's just a couple social media posts or, you know, whatever little things, set those up just so there can be like a little rollout plan. And I think that's really important, is just, you know, you don't have to feel like you have to do this crazy shit or make all these big promo videos or whatever. It can feel that way because a lot of people on our level are doing like this amazing stuff just by themselves. So it can feel like you have to keep up, but you don't. Just do what you can when you can, but make sure that you're planning it out and doing what you can to be successful, whether it's just, you know, a couple weeks before your song comes out, making a list of all the people that you want to pitch it to and email it to, thinking about what little things you might want to do on social media, thinking about, you know, getting your header or like new profile picture or whatever, those little things together, just so there's some fanfare around the release. I think that's just important, is creating some little fanfare firework effect, and you have to plan ahead to be able to do that. Toby said, on my YouTube, I'm happy with getting 3 views and 4 viewers on my streams because I'm considering the success of my site. Oh yeah, 4 viewers is good. I mean, a lot of people, you know, aren't even affiliate, don't even have 3 average viewers. So like, it's kind of crazy how many streamers there are that never make affiliate. And I think it's also just because it's stressful and people give up, and I don't blame them for it. But even just hitting affiliate is such a huge thing. I don't know if I followed you yet, but I will, Toby. Oh, then when it all falls down. Followed. Okay, let's see. What else do people say? Oops. Why is it playing me? Shut up, Kisos. You crusty bitch. A lot of time at work listening. Yes. A lot of people were saying staying steadfast in your vision. And we were kind of talking about this earlier with like Wilhelm and, you know, people who were saying like, well, should I make a specific kind of music, or, you know, is it better to like, should I just try to get on like X Factor or like a singing show? But what's really important is just like staying steadfast in your vision, making what you want to make and not making what you think you should make. Now, I will say you can kind of balance that into the sense of
7 inches, not too big, not too small.
I will say you can kind of balance that in the sense of, you know, making a song the way you want to, but then maybe like, for example, when I first released No Control, which if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. It's on my first EP, Voices, and it was on an astrology playlist. When I first made that song, it had no chorus. It was just kind of like a stream of consciousness. And I made it that way and I loved it that way. And then I was like, okay, let me actually just like make a chorus out of this. So I made a chorus. That was my one tribute to popular music for mainstream success. Yeah, and just doing little things like that. I wouldn't feel like, okay, well, I have to make an upbeat pop hit. I have to do this. I have to do that. Even though, yes, those are the songs that are going to do the best, most likely, are the dancey ones. Like Tina kind of said too, like different songs take different routes. And I feel like He Didn't Want Me in some ways has done just as much for me as Happily Ever After did. Even though it has less streams, got no press, I feel like the people who found it have really like loved it and become like fans of me. Yeah, so again, just like stay on your vision. Stay on your vision. I'm just a regular person, Toby, but you're welcome. Who's over 128 BPM? I never have. I've never gone above 120, I don't think. That's why what I tell myself to do is I make the music I want, but then maybe I'll put like some different parameters on it. Like, ooh, let me try to do a fast song because I never have. Or let me try to do this type of thing because I never have. Let's see. Anxiety. Can't really do anything about that one. Except just remembering that everything you feel is normal. Everyone else feels it too. If you can afford therapy or have coverage for it, get it. Hopefully you have a good therapist right out of the gate. I've been very lucky with my therapists. And also, again, anxiety, I think it ties into the perfectionism of it. So like we said earlier, just release stuff. Don't get caught up. Just release stuff. Because that's how people will find you. And if people don't like the first thing you release, well, guess what? You can release something else. What has helped me more recently, as I have gotten after Happily Ever After, you know, that was such easy to get press with. It was a home run pop hit dance track. It was so easy. And with all the songs after that, they're more DIY. So, but what I felt was just like, okay, you know, I was still getting press here and there. I can't complain at all. But if a certain place didn't get back to me or whatever, I would just feel like, you know what? It's okay. This song is not my last song. I will always have new music. So if they're too busy or if they are not interested in covering this song, I will have another before I die. And maybe they'll cover that one. And that's all you gotta just remind yourself. Favorite BPM on songs, 140, 150 because I rap. So I like faster tempos because they're easier to rap over. Ooh, you got that twista style? Or you still do it a little bit slower? Also, remember that we're making music for regular folks, not necessarily other musicians. That is also true. We're also we're biased against our own music because we know all the intricacies of it. We know what we like. We know what like the best singers sound like and the coolest melodies, and we feel like we can't compete. But meanwhile, the regular music fan is just looking for like a decent melody, a decent voice, and, you know, a nice person who looks cool and sounds cool and seems cool. So that's you. You don't have to do anything crazy. Take the pressure off of yourself to feel like you have to be a musical prodigy. It's true. Exactly. Making me feel so understood. Amen. And I think there was just one more point that someone mentioned. This was Hayden McHugh. It was more of a question versus their own wisdom, his own wisdom. Oh my God, pop filter, don't fail me now. But he was kind of saying like, how do you get the fans that you do have? How do you get them more engaged? Because he was saying kind of like, you know, he'll put polls on his story or do certain things, but he feels like people don't necessarily engage, even though he has like a good amount of followers. And I was like, honestly, there's not too much you can do except just keep getting more followers. It's kind of a snowball effect. But to some degree, there's always just going to be, you're always going to want more engagement and you're never going to be satisfied. So you have to just look at it in terms of, well, I get a lot more engagement now than I used to. But in terms of a more like a solution for that, I would say, you know, on Instagram posts, maybe ask more questions or, you know, don't just and I'm not saying Hayden does this, I'm just speaking generally, but like maybe ask a question at the end of your Instagram post, you know, ask people to send you their music or send you their favorite artists or whatever. I mean, playlists definitely get me more engagement because people, you know, they'll find me through the playlist and then they'll go like and comment a picture or whatever. If you're putting like things on your Instagram story, like ask me questions, don't have them ask you questions. Don't just be like, ask me about my new music. I mean, you can do that too, especially if you have new music. But I mean, if that isn't working, you know, you could try to think of something else or just come up with like dumb polls or like whatever little things to get people engaged. But I think that's kind of, I wouldn't worry too much about that stuff. Because like Guest mentioned way earlier in what he DM'd to me and what we were saying, like chasing the followers or chasing the engagement, it's kind of a rat race that doesn't really pay off. Like that stuff will come if you focus on your music and releasing stuff and, you know, whatever. But I think it also is just like the more content that you put out, the more chance you have people to engage with you. So if that's doing, like we said earlier too, more covers or YouTube videos or whatever, just giving people additional ways to interact with you is always how you're going to get more interaction, because you probably can't force it on a single post. And also supporting people, shouting them out. I mean, Tina and I have just like become friends and she engages so much. And that started with her, you know, like her reaching out and coming to I think actually your first stream wasn't even a Twitch stream. I think it was a Next Music stream. But, you know, we became friends from there and then talking more and, you know, just building a friendship. And now Tina's like, you know, subscribed on Twitch and Patreon and, you know, was always like the biggest support of everything I do. And I think that's how you get more engagement. It's just friendship. And engaging with the people who already support you too. You can't expect them to engage with you if you don't give anything back. Like if Tina came to my stream and I was just like, oh, hey, Tina, and didn't really like talk to her or like say hi or like want to get to know her more. Speaking of which, Tina, DM me your address so I can send you a card that I've been waiting on. I have cards for a few people here, but I can't remember exactly. But Tina, DM me your address if you don't mind, or I can send you a picture of the card if you feel private for whatever reason. But just DM me on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, and so I can send that to you. And I have another present for you, but that won't come closer to the end of the month. Till closer to the end of the month. But yeah, I mean, it's really just that you have to engage back with the people. I mean, you have to think about it as like there's levels to engagement. Like getting someone to comment on your Instagram post, that's pretty deep engagement, actually. Getting them to like vote on a poll on your story, it's not that big of a deal. And it's not, also for me, Instagram is not the place I go to for engagement. Twitter is where that good shit is. Instagram, people don't really like click on shit from there for me. Yeah, unless it's like a live stream and I'm like, I'm going live right now. The link is in my bio right there. But if I put like music in my bio or like other things in my bio, at least before I had, now I have more of an audience, so maybe it's not as true, but people don't click on that much stuff. Versus on Twitter, I feel like it's a little bit more, for some reason, it's easier. It's more built into the experience of like clicking, going back to the app. For Instagram, it's like harder because you have to like leave that post, go to the profile, look at this, go back to here, go back to the feed, do whatever. It's a lot. Well, I just mean for whatever reason, I won't expect anyone to just give me their address. I mean, I'm sending my P.O. box address to people, so nobody's getting my real address. So I wouldn't blame someone else for feeling the same. Yes. But I want to mail you lots of things. I just have one thing at first, and then there will be something else later. Let's see. Did I miss anything else? I think that was all of the user submitted things that I said. We talked a shit ton today, but I feel like it's all, maybe I'll try to like cut this up into different pieces so that I can use this video more than once. Love that. But did anyone else have any wisdom or things that I didn't say, or just things that maybe I did say but they've noticed have been really, really true for them since they've started releasing music? Just lessons you've learned or successes that you feel like you wish you had known about, or failures you could have avoided a long time ago if you just knew one little thing. Let me catch up on the chat while y'all share any advice or wisdom you have for anyone that might be watching this later. Have to go out and engage with your fans, comment on the pictures. I mean, that's true too. Again, like we were saying on Twitch, on Instagram, on anything, if you're expecting people to come to you, you have to go to them too. Because it also just puts you in their face. They'll remember you, they'll appreciate you, and they're more likely to then have a positive view of you as a friend. I mean, that's how relationships work. The more you like someone and show them you like them, the more they will like you, as long as you're not like creepy about it. It's like really simple, honestly. And thank you, Ruby. Yeah, we're getting close to 2000. Actually, don't know how many I have. 1960, the year I was born. 40 follows away. Maybe we'll hit it by my birthday. Just kidding. Jolie said, agree on the Prodigy comment. However, I'm willing to take the label on as my cross to bear. Oh my gosh. You're so annoying, Corey. Unhappy was pretty prodigious, though. Make your wins feel like they're wins. That's also very important. There's a lot of things that people will be like, well, I know it's not much, but I'm really happy that I just did this. Or like, I know it's not a big deal to some people, but no, just be like, yes, I fucking killed it. I got 100 plays in a month. Fuck yeah, I'm the best. This is the best I've ever done. This is some badass bitch shit. Like, I try to force myself to do that because when you're growing, you're like, oh, I can't wait till I'm at this position. I just wish I was here. I don't need to be the biggest person, but I just wish I was this much bigger, this much bigger, this much bigger. And then over the course of years, you're at that point, but you're still in that same mindset. So you need to feel like, wait, okay, take a step back and look at how far you have come. Look at all the things you've done, the little press here and there, the fact that maybe now you average 5 likes on a tweet instead of 0 or 1 or 3. You know, just those little things show you everything is a marker of progress. Everything. Just showing you that, oh, maybe in the last year you went up 50 followers on Twitter. Like, that's 50 new people. That's like 1 a week that now knows you. And if you're doing that growth right, and if you're taking the time and not just going after easy followers, those are probably, you know, new fans and people that are actually engaging with your stuff. Yeah, it's important. Yes, Julie. I can tell which artists try to engage with their fans like that just by the likes I get on a regular basis. Oh, you, like, yeah, like when you comment or whatever, and then someone likes and responds to you. Yeah, and again, I'm sure that makes you feel like, oh, this person notices me, so I'm going to spend a little more time with them. I mean, that's how I feel with people too. You know, I'm not like DMing everybody, I hope you have a good day today, or like responding to everybody or whatever. But if people are talking to me, I of course want to talk to them and give them my time too, because they're giving me theirs. It's just a no-brainer. And there's a lot of people that don't do that, and they wonder why they're not growing, because they aren't caring about anyone. Then there's a lot of people who are big just because they got big, and they also don't care about nobody, but that's a whole nother thing. We're gonna try to be positive today. Oh, I love some shade. I love some shade. Did anyone else have any wisdom? I'll play music for a little bit because I really want to play Leanne Rimes. Tina, I feel like you love Leanne Rimes. Am I just being racist? Am I just stereotyping you? You probably hate Leanne Rimes, because I know you're very alt. But for some reason, I just feel like Leanne Rimes is someone that we can all love. Hi, Hifa. How are you? I got your address. Your card has been addressed. I'll be mailing them out this week, finally. Oh my God, Leanne Rimes' husband. Is he hot? Definitely engage more with artists and engage back. Yeah, see? So again, this is something really important that I feel like people don't talk about. But listening to, I'll just use the word fans here, but listening to fans and friends, like people who aren't the music creators but are the music consumers, like listening to what they like is really important, because musicians are always like, I don't know what to do. It's kind of like when straight guys are like, girls are so mysterious. You don't know who that is? Oh my God. Okay, well, I'll play you some. She's like country artist from the 90s, like country pop. You might recognize it if you hear it. I feel like you'll have to, but maybe you won't. It'll be interesting. We'll see. Tina's like, I don't know who that is. How dare you stereotype me? I have pink hair. You think I listen to Leanne Rimes? Leanne fucking Rimes. Oh, hey, I love the dogs. What was I gonna say? Seems friendly. Oh, let's slide in the DMs. Let's put our tips to use. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but like, you know, it's kind of like straight guys who are like, girls are so confusing. I just don't get it. Meanwhile, they're like confused because their girlfriend is mad at them because they were like an asshole, you know, to the girl, or like ignored her to like play video games and like forgot their date night. I don't get why it's such a big deal. So I feel like musicians can kind of be the same. We're just like, I don't get why I'm not growing. What's happening? And it's like, okay, well, what do fans like? Fans and music consumers like people that talk to them. So just talk to people. What else do they like? They like good music. So, you know, keep releasing music and figuring things out and doing what you want to do. I mean, I feel like she was definitely more crossover, Tina, but we'll play some. So yeah, I mean, if you have a friend who is not a music maker, or, you know, just other friends, or just think about, what do you like when you're consuming someone else's music, when you're talking to a bigger artist who you feel like, you know, you're not maybe on the same level as them, but they're responding to you. You probably feel really special if they're talking to you. I do too. And